Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Celtic Unrestricted View. My name's Alan, and I'm joined today to talk about all things Celtic by Daniel. How are you, Daniel?
Not too bad, Alan, my man. How are you?
Ah, getting there. We're here to talk about all things Celtic and take a few comments for the viewers. Hopefully, get some questions in that we can delve into. But yeah, crack day, Glasgow day. And all this week we've been talking about wingers. I think we're getting to the stage that we did with who was the winger again under Brendan Rodgers, the Marriage Fed. Aye, I
Oh,
think we're getting to the
Steve
stage that we've
Fed.
got that many wingers that there's more coming in because I think that's three that we've been actually linked with this week alone. So aye, we'll see what happens then, and we'll go with to second and see. So what's your thoughts on the Benjamin, we'll call him. I think Ben. I don't
Young
think we want to
Benji.
murder his second name, but I think it would be something like Nygren or something like that. But I apologise to anybody that's offended if we've pronounced that wrong. So we'll we'll see how that goes. But what's your thoughts on Benji? Go with that.
I think it's like you said the other day, mate. We've not got much to go off of, but what we do, he does look impressive. Obviously Swedish international, playing in Denmark, I think it is the new. So he looks an exciting prospect. But if we don't manage to get him, it's good to see Celtic linked with at least more than one person in the same position. So early in the window. So if we do, I think I seen this morning that we've been granted permission to talk to the player. So if we can get him in the door, it would be great. But if no, I feel we can definitely move on to other options.
Right, that's Jesus. Right, for anybody watching, this is my first time. Oh, right, that's that better. So, sorry, sorry about the interference, but this is my kind of first time realising the different. I'm going to go into. Uh, Jesus. Right, up. We're in. We're in. So I apologise, folks, but Ryan, see if you can put some of the comments up. I'm struggling to get if you're watching in the background. If you can put any questions up for us, Ryan, we'll dig into them. Ryan's helping us in the background, so sorry, folks, because this is, as I say, my first time for doing this. No, I'm very excited that we're starting to do our business pretty early. I think that we've said a number of times that this is what's been needed. I think especially that we've got a playoff game this year going into the kind of the Champions League. I think that it is definitely necessary that we make sure we do our business properly and we're well prepared going into this kind of Champions League playoff because it's monumental for us to get that qualification due to kind of finance, due to kind of attracting a better standard of player. So I think that we need to be kind of proactive, Daniel,
Aye.
in this window. I think instead of reactive, we need to make sure that we've got everything in our power in the door with regards to players.
Yep.
And I think that if we're properly prepared, then it gives us the best opportunity to kind of qualify. And you look at last year, I think it was like something like 46 million that was taken in by Celtic.
Yep.
And that just lets us kind of spend that little bit more on players and hopefully kind of progress even further. So, what's your thoughts on the kind of what we've seen this week? We've obviously seen Kieran Tierney come in, which was one of the kind of worst kept secrets, but it looks as if there's more activity coming with regards to this Swedish international, Benji.
Yeah, I'd definitely say that it is shaping up to be a bit more of a proactive window, which is something we've not really seen in recent years. A lot of transfers have dragged on a bit, and then I don't think the last signing that we've been blockbuster that we didn't have any kind of clue about was Kyogo. So it'll be good to get people in the door. Obviously, like you say, that Champions League qualification is going to be crucial, because not only does it get us a bit of money, but it gets us out there player wise, it gets us that pool, like you were saying. So, and I think this new format definitely benefits us if we can get a good squad together and get a good dent into our home games, especially. But it's about making it there, mate. So obviously we'll have a playoff game. No, every game's a pushover, but you'd like to think that Celtic will be able to recruit well and go and push and get that Champions League qualification.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think we've been slightly lucky that we've managed to get seeded. I think it was actually the team that this boy's coming for. They winning the league. It made us go into the seeded positions for this
Mm-hmm.
Champions League playoff. So that it's still going to be kind of a relatively tough ask. There's no gimmies with regards to kind of any of the Champions League games, so it's always going to be tough. But we've made it that little easier, shall we say? That we're now seeded and playing maybe a lesser calibre of team. So here's hoping. But
Yeah.
I've managed to kind of sort of wee
Oh,
bit
there
of
we go.
technology out here. So I'm winging it a wee bit. But there's a question up here from our good man Ryan Clifford that I've managed to get on. And he's saying, afternoon, lads. Good to see you like with wingers. Do you think it's obvious we will sell a winger? Looks like it's a major target. What's your thoughts on that, Daniel?
I wouldn't say it's obvious that we're going to sell a winger, but hopefully we are looking to get rid of some. I don't like to call anybody deadwood, but players like Luis Palma, who maybe Yang, who have just proven that they're not good enough. So I think we might see a couple of guys who are on the fringe leaving for that wing position, but I wouldn't say it would be obvious that maybe any of our big name wingers would be leaving, but in an ideal scenario, Celtic would be able to get rid of that the fringe players who are not quite hitting on who play on the wing and manage to recruit some top quality talent. Would you feel about that, Ryan? No, Ryan, Alan. Sorry.
I don't know. I think obviously we will probably have a number of players that we're going to be that's going to be going out the door. I think a few of them will be wingers. Hopefully, it's not the wingers that we'd like to keep a hold of. I know there's been a lot of kind of talk about the likes of Nicholas Cool. There's been a lot of talk about Dyson Maida, whereas if Brendan considers that he's a striker or he's a winger or a bit of both, I don't know what camp that kind of Dyson Maida will be in just now. I think a lot of that decision will be made and you'll see clearer depending on the kind of players we bring in. If we're looking to bring in more wingers, which looks like the possibility just now, you would tend to think that Brendan probably sees Maeda as kind of through the middle. If we were to go out and kind of buy one or two strikers, then that might change again that Maeda's seen as a winger. But we'd like to kind of keep a hold of obviously some of our best when you're looking at Maeda. Jota's injured for a number of months.
Yep.
That could affect obviously the decision making on how many we're bringing in. We've still got James Forrest there. We'd like to keep Nicholas Kuhn. I think if we see the first half of the season, the form that he had in the first half of the season, I think it was exceptional at times.
Yep.
Maybe dipped off a wee bit. His form kind of fell away slightly towards kind of the second half of the season, but kind of if we see the best of his ability, then he's a top player. So we're hoping you're looking at the likes of kind of Yang, as you mentioned before, Palmer. Is that a possibility that we're looking to move them on, whether it be kind of permanent or loan deals? But personally, I would probably move on the likes of kind of Palmer
Yeah.
and Yang. I think Palmer's probably that's made up. That's whoever. If we could get somebody that wants Palmer, I think that would definitely be looking to move him on. But with regards to the other four that we've got, I don't unless we'll get big bids coming in, I don't really see any of them moving on. I don't know what
Yeah.
you think. Would you kind of, if we bring in wingers, would you be unhappy if we seen the likes of Nicholas could move on?
I'm a bit 50-50 with Nicholas Kuhn. Obviously, he's had a exceptional first half to the season there, and then obviously his form did dip off a bit. But if a club comes in with a reasonable fee, we need to entertain it, because if somebody's willing to pay that amount of money, and we get somebody in who in pre-season pushes to challenge him, I don't see why we wouldn't entertain it. Obviously, with the likes of Dyson Maeda, I really think he is vital to this Celtic team. If Brendan is looking to play him as more of a winger or as a striker this season, we'll just have to wait and see. But I think in terms of on the wing, the guy that we need to keep a hold of no matter what is definitely Maeda. James Forrest, fantastic servant for the football club. I mean, my whole time watching Celtic, James Forrest has always been in the team. So I do not see him leaving for any sort of fee or stuff like that. I think the only way we see James Forrest leave the club is if he retires for football completely. But I think he's still down for another year, so I think we'll see him not play as big of a role the way he has in previous seasons, but definitely a good guy to keep around for the young guys who look to be coming in. And then obviously Jota's injured, but he's a fantastic talent if we can get him back up to that standard. And then obviously we do have Yang, but if we keep him, he's a rotational player, but if he can show that consistency that he showed towards the end of the season there, I don't think it would be a bad thing to keep a hold of him, to be honest. I don't know how you feel about
I I think he done relatively well with regards to coming on as an impact player, but
that.
I think you see that the performances he put in when his head starts.
Yeah.
I think the Celtic fans are probably going to remember that cup final as well, the last game that we played.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
a lot of the fans were really upset with the performance that he put in against Aberdeen. So I think there may be a long way back. I know Brendan's been kind of using him quite regularly off the bench. He's been one of the impact players, but
Yep.
I don't know. Brendan can be stubborn at times, but I don't know if that last appearance and that last performance is. I don't know if that
But are
sends
we
his fate
only
maybe.
seeing so
Aye.
much of him because we don't have any quality better than him? That's the real question. Is he pushing to make him good because we don't have anybody else? So it'll be interesting if we do bring some people in to see how he fares up against them.
Yeah. So we've got another wee question in there that I've managed to find as well. So Francis, we're a good man. He's usually on the dial in. He phones up and gives us some of his kind of brilliant patter usually. So I hope you're very well, Francis. But he's saying also require a ball winning midfielder and a centre back to partner CCV if we don't start using Narovsky. What's your opinion on the whole Narovsky? And I'd like to add in Lagerbielke because I think the two of them are on similar. They're maybe getting treated similar. I know that we've spoken about this previously, but what's your opinion on Nonowski and what do you think is going to happen, Daniel?
In an ideal world, we would see him stay, we would see him start, but I think if we were going to see that Navrocki push for the starting and that confidence, it would have happened during the season. So if I'm Mike Navrocki, I'm either giving it one more go with the promise of playing or looking to get away. And I would not blame him if he did leave the club, because when he has played in a Celtic shirt, in my opinion, I would not say he's put a foot wrong. So he must.
Do
It
you think
must
there's an
just come
issue
down
with
to.
Brendan? Do you think Brendan maybe have an issue? My opinion on the matter, with Francis and everyone that's watching, my opinion on the matter is that I think that Brendan just does they fancy them?
Yeah,
I think that these were players that were maybe picked out by the hierarchy, or whether it be that they were scouted under Ange.
yeah,
But I just think he's come in, and I don't think he fancies him. I don't think that he's done anything drastically wrong. I think he's been relatively decent this season when he's been called upon. But my point being would be that he's no getting called upon. Like he's
yeah,
no, like, you look at the Rangers game that he played, and
mhm,
it was come out after that Dane Murray was injured, and if Dane Murray was playing, he was getting the place instead of kind of
yeah,
Mike Mirovski. So for me, that just shows how far that individual is down the pecking order.
yeah,
And I don't know if you'd agree, but I think it's a case that I think we just accept this, that whether it be Lagerbielke or Mirovski, I think the two of them are probably heading out the door, and I'd tend to agree that we probably need uh, another centre back to partner Carter Vickers, because the fact of the matter is, Trusty. We'll speak about Trusty first. I'll touch on both of them, but Trusty looked relatively decent first half of the season, and then the turning point, as we spoke about, was maybe the Dundee game when he gets pushed off the ball, and you've seen the manager's kind of rage, shall we say. He was very upset with that. You simply can't afford that to do that in kind of
yeah,
Scottish football. So you're looking at that, but then Liam Scales as well. As much as I think Liam Scales has come in, he was at Aberdeen. He done relatively well. He's done a lot better than any of us with regards to his kind of playing first team football with
yeah,
Celtic. But can we do better than William Scales? I think as a club we should be able to bring somebody in that's maybe better. And that's no offence to Liam. I think he's contributed brilliantly well. There has been times that he's made mistakes like everybody, but for us to progress, for us to see the best version of Celtic, for me personally, I think we need maybe somebody to come in that's better than both kind of Trusty and Scales. Whether that happens, what's your thoughts on that, Dan?
yeah. I would definitely agree. I think the same as you, mate. I think it is just coming down to a bit of personal preference. We've seen at the start of last season, before Lagerbielke goes on loan. I think Brendan came out and said that the attitude from him and Thiago Home and the effort levels were just not it. It's just not up to his standard. So I think it is a bit of personal preference with they two players, and that's why we've seen them out on loan. But I think with Navrocki, I don't know what more the big guy has today, because we watched Liam Scales and Austin Trusty time after time, pushed off the ball, making mistakes, losing the ball up the pitch. And although we have had a successful season, it's just not good enough at the times. And we need to stop looking back at this. Oh, but we've won this, we've won that. But we should have picked up 3 trophies last season.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, cup final, it's a one-off game, anything can happen. But we are a much stronger side, a much better side than Aberdeen. So we should be able to beat them. And the fact that we weren't able to do that just proves that we do need competitiveness in this squad. Too many players are known that they're going to get picked, and it's showing on the park, especially William Scales. I mean, he thinks he can ping any pass he wants, and
Aye.
it's strange to watch, mate. It's strange because we don't see anybody else taking up that mantra of like, oh well, I know I'm going to play anyway.
Did you see a drop off in the kind of attitude, shall we say, in the last number of weeks, that once a week was maybe one? I don't actually players thought they were on holiday, but it got to that stage. It maybe a few of the players you didn't think were maybe committing 100%. Shall we
Yeah,
say? I think that's probably the nicest way to say it. It might just be human nature that some people aren't used to kind of that heavily grew up with the likes of kind of Scottish football and Celtic, but it seemed a wee bit of a drop off for me.
yeah. I think because we had won the league in the manner. I mean, we entered the split knowing that we only needed 3 points to win the league. So I think we definitely did see a lack of effort towards the end of the season. because performances did obviously that's natural. End of the season, it's a long season. Performances usually do tail off, but not in that manner. Because the last two games, the St Mirren game at home when we lifted the cup, it was a very, very, very poor display. It was obviously overshadowed by Jamesy getting the goal. And then obviously the cup final, we just never looked like showing any intent to go and kill the game off, going 1-0 up. But I agree with what Francis said there about needing a ball winning midfielder. I feel like Callum McGregor's role in the Celtic team, only he can play it. And we've seen obviously this season when he did get injured that nobody else can step up to that plate. So I think we need to either bring someone in who can do that or start to nurture a player into that position for when obviously Callum does move on.
I know there's a lot of calls made for the Celtic support, and you see this regularly that we want to bring somebody in and push Callum forward. I might be wrong. I'm not sure if I think Callum will be kind of as effective in that push forward role. I think he does a great job as kind of playing that number six. Maybe a wee bit different from an old fashioned number six, but he is like that quarterback. So I don't know if I'd want to take Callum out of that position, because I think he dictates most of the teams that we play. He dictates what way we are playing. Basically, he's sitting there, he's pulling the strings. So I think one of the things that we've discussed a number of times in Francis, I think this is maybe what he's getting at as well, that I think we maybe need a wee bit more physicality and a wee bit of bite in the midfield. Whether that's dislodging kind of Callum for that position, I don't know if that'd be wise. It could be, obviously. That's why the manager's on a big wage. He'll be the one that'll make that call. It'll be any us two. But it'll be interesting to see. But I definitely think, as we said before, I think there is a need for a wee bit of bite, a wee bit of physicality that needs added. I don't think we've maybe had that in the team for, I think the one that always comes up, maybe kind of Wanyama, but you're looking in the past as well. We've had kind of Scott Brown, Neil Lennon, Barry Robson, Paul Hartley, etc. You've had players like that add that wee bit of intensity in the midfield. So I do believe that may well be a position that you'd look at as backup, but I think when you look at that number six, Callum kind of plays 99% of the games. That is,
100%.
It's not very often that he's injured. So I don't know. What is your thoughts on that? Do you believe that we should be bringing in somebody in that position, or should it be a wee bit further up the midfield?
I mean, obviously, when Callum broke into the team, we watched him playing in that further forward role, and he was exceptional in it. But over the years, we watched him, like I mentioned previously, we watched him getting nurtured into that six, picking up the ball for the defenders, driving, and he's made that his bread and butter. So I personally wouldn't. It would be great to see him back in that number 8 kind of role that he's played previously, but for the sake of the team, unless we bring in somebody who is an exceptional number 6 and can play that ball winning role, I don't see us moving Callum further up the pitch. Maybe we'll bring someone in to back up and learn off him for eventually when he does retire. But even if we were to bring in someone, it would be very, very, very difficult for them to move Callum from that position. Because like you said, Brendan get paid the big bucks, but if something's not working, then sometimes we've been a bit slow to change. But I do feel
this brings us on to another point as well, Daniel, that I can find Ryan's, but we're talking about this midfielder and this question that he's brought up. This is on a lot of kind of Celtic fans' lips at present. And I'm one that's been really on board with this for the last 9 months on this podcast. I've been saying regularly, we need to make. I wanted it in the kind of January transfer window. I think it would have been less money that we spent there, but I thought that this boy is special. I think that he's one that maybe if he gets away, I think you look in the past when you've seen the likes of kind of John McGinn, you see Lewis Ferguson in Italy just now, kind of playing really well. Josh Doig as well, getting links with kind of Juventus, etc. There has been a number of players that maybe you go, oh, that's one that get away. Aaron Hickey is another one you're looking
Yep.
at. So I just think, to Ryan's question, will they bid for him? I'm not so sure. There's been kind of differing reports, but at what price should we go? I think whatever it takes. I know there's been quotes of Sunderland's been in for him for the likes of kind of 10 million. He's 18-year-old. He's captain the Motherwell side. He got Young Player of the Year. Was man of the match the other night, whether it be against Liechtenstein.
Yeah.
It just looks as if we're able to kind of buy him, he's either going to go for huge money or he'd be a Celtic player for a number of years like Callum McGregor, and we'd be able to kind of build that midfield round about him. I think just now, whether he gets in before Hatate and Engels, that's a big question. He's only 18. But for me at present, I think, and a lot of people might say, oh, that's nuts, or a lot of people might agree, but I think at present, he would probably get in before Luke McCowan. And I think the way that Bernardo's, maybe he's no hit top form at present, I would probably put Lennon Miller in before Paulo Bernardo, and I have a huge admiration for Paulo Bernardo. I think that he's a very, very talented player. But I think the sky's the limit with this boy Lennon Miller. I think that he is. We need to get in and make sure that he's the top priority this year, because I think that he is going to keep progressing. And what you're seeing for him at present, and he's only 18, I think huge. What's your thought on Ryan's question?
Lennon Miller has been a great discussion point as a Celtic supporter. I'll say that, because, like you say, he's a young, up and coming Scottish talent. Captain of Motherwell at the age of 18 is nothing to be laughed at. So I think he's an exceptional talent, and we've seen. I think I seen a stat the other day saying he's first or second in the world across every league for all sorts of stats at under age of 19. Is that right?
Second in every league in the world. It was first and second. It was crazy.
I mean, he's a boy who's 18 years of age, starting every game, captain of a club. But the thing is, if you do go and sign him, Sunderland are looking at him for about 10 million. So if you do go and bring and spend that money, does he walk into the Celtic team? For me, in the midfield when we're full strength, not just now. But if you do bring him in, that's a great question there for John. Where does that leave the likes of Luke McCowan? Now, I think Paulo Bernardo is a spectacular player. I think we've got him for an absolute bargain. He's also captain of Portugal's under-23s, which is nothing to be laughed at either. So I think Lennon Miller surpasses Luke McCowan, but it then becomes who plays more, Bernardo or Lennon, because I don't see him unless something really, really goes off the rails with Arnie Engels. I don't see him being dislodged for the team. I think Brendan has a lot of faith in him, spent a lot of money on him. I think the only way we can see Lennon Miller become an immediate starter is if someone leaves the club from that midfield, whether that be in a Rio Hatate or a Paulo Bernardo or something like that. But I don't see that happening. No, especially with Rio being injured.
Where do you think that puts McCowan? Right, you're looking at, we've got three positions in the midfield. For me, it's only ifs, buts and maybes. As far as we know, there's no been any bid made for Lennon Miller. It's all the Celtic fans that are basically speaking about it. So it could be we've no interest in signing him. We'll probably find out later in the transfer window, because I think that it's probably odds on that Lennon Miller will leave Motherwell. They will cash in. But for me, when you look at the other, if he come in, I think that probably puts Luke McCowan sixth in the pecking order. For me, and I'm not disputing Luke McCowan. He offers a lot. He's considered he's no started that many games last year. I think his season was a success. I think
Yep.
that for £1 million, I think the contributions that he made when he came on as a sub most of the time, number of goals, assists, I think that he's had a very good season.
Yeah.
And for £1 million, that's absolutely brilliant value for what we've got.
Mhm.
So for me, John's question, I think that if Lennon Miller come in, sadly, it would probably put the Cow in about sixth place.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would see that pecking order at present.
I would agree. Because Luke McCowan, although he's shown signs of being a good player and he's had a great season coming in, there's always something lacking, whether it's strength. Sometimes he's a bit wayward with passes and stuff like that. In that midfield, I think we're going to end up, if we do end up signing Lennon Miller, which I don't see happening, I think he is going to become a Casey, another John McGinn. If we do sign him, then it becomes the way our midfield was under Brendan the first time. Spoil for choice, people get unrestful, and then start leaving for pennies, which is not what we want. We don't want that. So for Luke, I think it does put him rock bottom if Lennon Miller does come into the club. I feel it would be a good bit of business, but sadly, I don't see it happening. I do see him leaving to either in England or abroad.
I probably tend to agree with you. I think we're probably making a mistake. I see some comments there with regards to why my opinion of Lennon Miller so high. Which the
Yeah,
obsession, I think was the word, but I think that's for plunge. But I just see a lot of positives in regards to Lennon Miller. You're looking at obviously the homegrown status. He's 18-year-old. He knows Scottish football.
yeah,
And I think the sky's the limit with him. I think he's extremely talented at present. And if you coach him under the likes of kind of Brendan Rodgers, if you put players like Callum McGregor, like Rio Hatate round about him, it's only going to benefit and accelerate his progression.
yeah.
Honestly, when I've watched him for the age he is, I can't speak highly enough.
Hmm.
As I say, I might be wrong. Celtic might not have any interest in him, but for me personally, I would put him top of the wish list, shall we say, in this transfer window. But
Yeah,
as I say, we're just two guys talking on a podcast, so
absolutely. Mate.
it's up to Brendan and the hierarchy within. So we'll just need to kind of see what happens in regard to that. We'll just see if we can. Questions here, but aye, it's so. What have you seen? I know it's. I'll just come up with one of mine as well. You look at. You've seen videos of Benji. Shall we say that'll be his new nickname? We've seen videos of Benji, and I've read different reports. Right, a few of them are saying that he's a liar. A few of
Hmm.
them are saying he's like a 10 attack midfielder.
Hmm.
And we can only, obviously, with the league that he's in just now, we can only kind of look at these YouTube videos that
Yep.
sometimes it makes Bolly and Golly look like Paolo Maldini. You know what I mean? Sometimes it can be misleading, but through the YouTube videos that I've watched, what I've seen basically is that he loves to pick out a pass.
Yeah.
His floated balls and his crosses, he looks extremely good at his through balls, etc. Uh, he didn't on the video. He didn't look maybe know the quickest. And that's how I was kind of leaning towards. Is he a number 10? Does he play in behind the striker?
Yeah.
Because the way he was kind of he was passing the ball about. There was some unbelievable moments in the
Yeah.
clips, obviously, but it looks as if he can kind of pinpoint passes for halfway across the park. So I don't know how much kind of homework or how much videos footage you've seen of him, Daniel, but on that he does look decent, but we know a lot of the time that that's just showing the best bits. That's not showing
Yeah.
the bad bits of the player.
Yeah, this is the problem with signing guys for leagues that are a bit lesser known. All you've got to go off of is the clips, the YouTube highlights. So I don't tend to watch a lot of them. I feel like we all got sucked in with Luis Palma edit highlights. So
Aye.
uh, so I don't tend to watch. But for what I've seen report-wise and stuff like that, he does look like a talent. Like you say, he can ping a pass. I think that's sometimes what we're wanting for, and either whether it is on the wing or number 10, because we've got some players who are exceptionally talented in their passing. I mean, Real Hatate could ping a ball through the eye of a needle when he wants to, but when you've no got the kind of guys starting, whether that be through injury or just rotation, you do need other options who can do that. So I feel if passing is definitely a strong point, we wouldn't go amiss on the wing. I think sometimes our quality into the box is a bit left wanting, but is it the quality of the ball or is it the person on the other end trying to put it in the net? So it's a tricky one, but if he can bring quality to the wing or as a 10, I think it would definitely be beneficial.
I think you made a decent point there with kind of Palmer. I'm starting to think that Palmer was that type of player, but he's no the quickest.
Yeah,
And his passing range seemed to be decent. Lewis Palmer, you've seen a few of the kind of the balls were outside his foot that he put in. I'm sure it was last year against St Mirren. He put like a cross ball with outside his foot. It was absolutely tremendous.
yeah,
So I'm hoping that he's maybe low get the adverse attitude that maybe Lewis Palmer seems to be seeing. So it does look as if it's fairly down the road. It was all the reports are saying that we're already in discussions about kind of personal terms, etc. And obviously, it's coming to a bigger club that will be giving him kind of more wages, etc. So the
yeah,
reports I'm reading, it doesn't sound as if the personal issues are going to be a problem. So I think this is maybe one that we're going to see maybe an announcement in the next kind of upcoming days. So that'll be interesting to see. But we've got a question here for Maestro as well. I don't know if he's saying, I don't know if he's saying Will Young, what the guy that was on Pop Idol, or is that Will Young McArdle? Will Young McArdle break into the squad. What's your thoughts on that, Daniel?
I'm not too sure because obviously we've seen in the past with Celtic's younger players, they make the bench, they make a couple of cameo appearances, even if they're signed youth or youth team. They make a cameo appearance now and again, and then suddenly they're leaving on a free transfer. So it all depends on pre-season. I think that'll be big. I think we might see a lot of players who are youth or fringe given a big chance. Hopefully that is the case. And if he does get his chance, hopefully he's able to kick on and push to get in the team.
I did say I agree. I did say when he made his kind of debut, you kind of watch a player and you know that he's got something. And I think with a lot of the discussions we've had recently with regards to we're not really creating enough from our youth system
Yep.
from Lennoxtown. So I would hope I would hope there was a decision made. That's probably the main part. I think either he's going to get some game time, or I would like to see him get. You need to be careful with who you're loaning him out to, but I'd like
Aye.
to see some sort of route kind of planned out that he's going to kind of make progression, because he does look as if he is a fairly decent player with decent technique. So I think that he could break into the Celtic side. He could get minutes, but as we're saying, we're bringing in kind of quite a lot of players into different positions now, so
Yeah.
it's going to be difficult for him to kind of make that breakthrough. But
Yeah.
we can only kind of see what happens. But I wish him all the best, because seriously, the couple of appearances that he made, I think for his age and he's not had a chance before. I think he took his chance relatively well. I think that he played very well for debut and then his second appearance. And I'm hoping we do see more of him, but if Brendan's made his mind up that maybe our squad depth is maybe too much, then make sure that there's a sensible loan lined up
Yeah.
where there's whether it be a team in Scotland or down south, etc. But somewhere that he is going to get a lot of game time, because I think that for these kind of young players, you'll see it with the likes of kind of Ryan Christie. We'll see it even to a certain degree with Liam Scales now.
Yeah.
There has been Tony Ralston as well.
Cal
When
McGregor as
these
well.
sorry,
Cal
Cal
McGregor as
McGregor
well.
with
Yeah.
Ross County, aye. So I think when you see these players that definitely have got potential, you want them to kind of progress the best way they can. I think
Yeah.
for me it is kind of first team football, and I think we need to make a decision basically before the end of the transfer window. What is he going to get his chance at times within Celtic, which I'm doubtful, like yourself, or we need to send him out on loan and kind of continue his progression.
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing, if we do send him out on loan, is just a loan and not a loan with an option to buy. Because if he does go out on loan and he has an exceptional season, and then they pull the trick, Brendan's wanting them back, and the club chooses to pull the trigger on an option to buy, then we're left wanting again. So I think if we do start to loan out a lot of our youth prospects, we need to be able to keep them instead of letting them go. So I think that would be a big thing. But best of luck to him. Pre-season,
Definitely.
he did show glimpses towards the end of the season there, but midfield is such a competitive part of our team. So I think if we do see him impress in pre-season and he does kind of linger around the squad, we will maybe see him included in maybe the Champions League qualification squad.
Yeah.
So best of luck to him, like we says, but in terms of the whole season, I don't really see more than cameo appearances.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll be finishing up soon, so I just want to put this on as well to let everybody know. Yeah, just as Ryan said, or I don't know if it's Ryan or JP, I think it's Ryan. But hi guys, just to let you know, we will be on the Axon channel at 6 p.m. Hopefully you can tune in, yeah. Myself, Ryan and JP, we met up with Paul John Dykes on Tuesday. It was Tuesday. We met about Barra's Art and Design, so it's a recorded podcast. So it will be good. We spoke about kind of all things Celtic, so it was a really good chat. We appreciate the invite. So that will be going out at 6 p.m. So if anybody wants to kind of tune in and see more of this ugly mush, then fair play. But no, I just like to thank you for your time, Daniel, and thank you everyone for watching. Obviously, I apologise again for the minor technology hiccup at the start. But as you're well aware, the guy that's sunning ill climates in Spain, he's the one that usually kind of deals with all the technology. We're good friends, fucking Mr. Monteith. So yeah. So hopefully I've stepped up to the mark, and it's the two daddies here just now. But yeah, thanks again, everyone. Feel free to like and subscribe. Helps the channel. And again, we'll see you at some point next week. But tune in to Axom and you can see that recorded video as well. But for me, thanks very much, everyone. Have a great weekend, and thank you, Daniel.
Not a problem.
Hail,
Hail, hail.
hail.